Hi, this is Melanie of Pardesi Reviews, and I'm joined with Kathy of Cinema Podcast, and we're going to do an in-depth discussion of the Tamil film Captain Miller, starring Dhanush, and directed and written by Arun Matheswaran, Kathy's new favorite director.
I love this man. I love everything he's doing. I don't know why he can't, this was a big hit, thank goodness, because he's made 2 great films and they haven't quite got the releases they should get. So now finally
this is the one. Like he caught people's attention.
Yep. It's like,
with the first 2. We're going to have a separate discussion of his, I think it was his previous film with Kirti Suresh, that I'm blanking on the title right now, but really intense, super violent, whatever. And I'm like, what is Captain Miller?
I know, it's like, what is happening? And it did not disappoint.
Whoa. Yeah. Okay. So I am a longtime fan of Dhanush. I think he's a very fine actor. I love him dancing, but this was one of his intense dramatic roles, but with lots of action. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, he also has that kind of face. A lot of actors cannot do this, but you shave the beard off and he looks like he's 12. Like,
and a whole different person. Like,
right?
I almost didn't recognize the 2. I'm like, wait, hold on.
The flat scenes totally work because you're like, who is this kid?
Yeah, he's just a baby. Captain Miller. Captain Miller.
Gosh. Yeah. I mean, he just totally, he really can transform himself. And he also is a good enough actor that somehow he's acting younger and you get it. Yeah. Right? Like,
he just has this wide-eyed innocence in a way. Like, he's very naive at the time. He looks so untouched by trauma at the time. Yeah, that didn't last long.
All right, so Arun Matheswaran has put us in this village where it's sometime in the 30s or 40s, British occupation. So we got those British bad guys.
Oh boy!
But we also have princely, the people who have ruled over this kingdom. Also, we have some Indian bad guys. Running through the cast a little bit. Of course, Dhanush is our hero. He's Isa. And then I was really surprised. I was telling Kathy, I texted her after I saw it. I happened to be my screening. I was alone in the theater. So I wasn't bothering anybody for the entire movie. I'm like, it's that guy. Wait, what? And so I was able to look up on my phone and not bother anybody. I'm like, it is that guy. So we had Shiva Rajkumar, who plays Dhanush's older brother. And I am not familiar. I have not seen any of the films where he is a lead, but of course he had a very important role in Rajnikant's recent film, Jailer. Yeah. And you just see him on screen and you're like, yeah, that guy's a star. Like, he just like, he's got it, right? Exactly. And the fact that the one dance number was the 2 of them together, I was in heaven. I was just in heaven. It was so awesome.
And I liked the dance because it was more not so choreographed. It felt very primitive, and like he absorbed like the spirit, and he was just like dancing. Like, it just felt like a very, like, he's high on acid and he's dancing, and he had I just thought that was so tribal and cool. Like, I love that.
So the sort of love interest is Priyanka Arul Mohan, played Velmati. She's kind of a princess. And then this was another one where I'm like, Edward Sonnenblick plays this white soldier who is so evil. And I'm like,
he's just so snotty. I hated that guy.
So evil. Like, when half of his face gets burned off, like, you're like, that's not enough. Like, it's like, do the rest of it.
I'm going to take these bandages off and terrorize everyone. It's like, it looks bad, but it's not that bad.
And then we had, I'm looking for the prince's, John Kokken plays this prince who he just had a resting villain phase through the entire movie. He's like, is that the sound of bullets killing people?
When he walked in to audition, if that's how it happened, they went, he's it. All I got to do is look at his face. Okay, you're done. You're in. I don't care if you can act or not. Fortunately, he could.
I mean, so the previous film that I've seen with this director, let me look up the title because I'm going to murder it, but here we go. It is Sani Kayadam. Okay, so that was very like art film with lots of black and white. I mean, extremely violent, violent. But this film is obviously meant to be much more of a mass entertainer.
Yep.
But yet it was still about something. Like, you know, there was cast
movies have so much heart.
And you know, yes, we're showing the British as villains, but they were showing the way the British ruled was by having an army of Indian natives who were carrying out all these horrible acts. And so you see this massacre, and Dhanush's character is just horrified that he participated, that he didn't just immediately run away. And so, I mean, that leads to him being rejected by his village and everything. And it's like, you know, so that's what I'm saying. Yes, it's an action film, but I felt like, okay, there's some gravitas, there's some heft to this movie. It's not just, you know,
just action for
action for action side. Although they do have the Avengers assemble.
That's true. They did it very well, though. They incorporated it very well. Well, I like too that they gave his reason for joining the army. It wasn't just like, I'm a bad person, I'm joining the army. He's like, I can't even get shoes to wear. Like, I need someone to take care of. Like, he wanted someone to take care of him and give him somewhere to sleep.
Not even that he couldn't afford them, but under the caste system, his caste was not allowed to wear shoes.
It's like, give me shoes.
Right. So, and that actually
it leaves you vulnerable to something like this. You can see why.
My husband and I took this lecture course online on Indian history. And that was something that the college professor talked about, is that why did people join the military? Why would they want to? And he said, well, under these caste restrictions where you could only do the same kind of job that your caste was allowed to do, this was a way out. It was a way of freedom to get separate from that, to, you know, gain money, whatever. And so that's why a lot of these people did that. So his story is the same as many other people. Like, there's nothing for me in this village. What am I going to do?
And that's how, you know, that's how a lot of people who are underprivileged or uneducated, they get wooed into the army because they feel like it's the only place they can get ahead in a way, you know, and get some respect. It's the same story
in America. It's not any different.
It's not different. It's not different. So that was very relatable, and you can understand why he did it. Because you're always kind of like, why would Indians want to fight against themselves? Well, that's why.
Right.
I mean, because everyone feels like, you know, they deserve
the pride
more.
That when he looks at himself in the mirror, they've given him just a random name.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not even going to try to spell all these Indian names. Are just, you're Stephen, you're Miller, you're James, whatever. Like, you know, but the pride, I love that scene of him looking himself in the mirror, and he's
so proud.
He's so proud to have a uniform, to have boots on his feet. Like,
and he felt valuable, like they valued him, even though they didn't really.
Right.
So that was also like really powerful. I thought I really liked that. And he had just such his cute, innocent face. That shaved. I just love how he kept saying it. I'm Captain Miller. Like, he was so proud of this American sounding or this British sounding name, right? Miller. Yeah. I did like the title. Captain Miller is a cool sounding name.
Right. I mean, I loved how they showed when he had, I think it was before that, they showed him attacking this outpost of British soldiers, goes in, sees the wanted poster, and writes in blood, Captain Miller.
I love it.
Just Miller, Captain.
I love that they were showing the posters throughout, because they used those posters as part of the promo. Like, they were leading in, they had the wanted posters as part of their animation, and they were showing those as posters, and it was cool to see them actually utilized in how they were utilized in the film. That was really
I like that too.
That was really nice. Good job.
Right. I mean, because it's probably to me, it almost looked like a Wild West in America, like a movie post, that you would see in a 1930s Western movie. It was the same kind of drawing, right?
Exactly. Like hanging up in the saloon, it says wanted, and you have like the bounty, and
right.
Totally what it was. So good. I love that.
So what were your overall impressions of the film?
My overall impression was, okay, so I'd seen the two previous Arun Matheswaran films, and so I was expecting artistry. I knew it was going to be bigger budget, which it was. I knew it was going to be broader and bigger.
Yeah.
But he does not disappoint in his cinematographer. gives him that extra special sauce, that extra, his name's Siddhartha. What's his name? I have it written down somewhere. Siddhartha Nuni is like, that is who brings this beautiful sensibility to what could be just an action film, big bloody action.
Right.
But he brought in that great thing that Arun Matheswaran does so well. The lower third action, the big skies, you know, the great composition. And then when he stages the violence, it's sort of in a way you haven't really seen before. And I mean, there was a shot I wrote down when I got back in the movie. I'm like, gotta remember this. This great drone shot or something. I'm assuming, where all these Jeeps are racing down the road, and then one gets blown up, and they have this drone shot flying over the Jeep, and then it's like spinning with the Jeep, and everyone's flying out. I'm like, how the hell did they shoot that? My God. So that's one of those things, like, I don't usually notice cinematography that much in movies. You're just kind of watching. These are the kind of movies that are so beautifully shot that you cannot help but go, wow, what is happening?
I mean, they could have done it in the pedestrian same way that everyone else has done it.
Right.
And it would have been fine. But I felt like they took it to an extra level.
They did. And extra craftsmanship.
Even the moment when Captain Miller decides, I am done with this. I'm leaving the military, right? Mm-hmm. And the general or major or whatever British guy is yelling at him. It's framed, the background is just all fire. It's a bonfire of bodies. Yeah. Because they're trying to hide what they did, that they massacred all these freedom fighters. Yeah. And so he kicks the guy into the fire. Like, he doesn't just shoot him.
Boom. Just boo, flying into the fire.
Into the fire.
It was a beautiful shot from far away. Like, it was like, what we're talking about, that lower third, like, you have this big scene, and the two little people, he kicks them, and you just see the little person flying in. It's so impactful because it makes, it's the odd thing of, like, when things are smaller, they feel bigger. It's an odd, like, when in graphic design, we do the same thing. The smaller the person is on the poster, the bigger the movie feels, because it just feels like a big environment. Right. It's such a great job in that. I love it.
I mean, somebody else would have filmed that we're from just completely from Dhanush's point of view, and the guy's just flying back. And
you'd see close up, and he would,
Right. And I would like the fact that I'm talking about it and that I remember just that one little scene shows me how much just a little bit of extra care and artistry made that much more impact in that pivotal moment of him saying, no, I'm breaking away from this. F you, British.
Exactly. And I was afraid with his bigger budget and the fact this was, a bigger story with armies. And, I thought, oh, he's going to kind of throw away his beautiful art house, sensibility and make this big crowd, like you're saying, big mass, movie. But he didn't. He just brought it in a different way. Like, it's still beautifully shot, and the music is amazing too. Like, he had perfect, like, music that was specific to a scene. It wasn't just the same theme over and over, even though you heard the little whistle once in a while.
Right.
It was like specific music for this, specific music for this. Like, it didn't just repeat over and over, and it was really, really created this real separation from, like, a point of view to another point of view by having different music. So well done.
I mean, but also gave us those hero shots that we want.
Oh yeah, it delivered.
Okay. Actually, I can't remember where it was a discussion on Threads or Twitter of just how Hollywood has kind of lost the magic of the hero shot of of really presenting the main character to us in a way that makes them so much larger than life. And, it's just like most of the time it's very underwhelming. Right. And just obviously that is not the way it is in Indian cinema. And even though there was more artistry, he still gave us those amazing, there was multiple moments, right? Because we see Captain Miller introduced at the beginning and then we're flashbacking. But then when there's big action scenes, like, I mean, he just brings it. And then, okay, this is a spoiler-filled discussion because, we've done individual reviews already. But the reveal that the brother did not die. Yeah. And the way he gets revealed, and it's just like this huge moment. Like, it was so awesome.
So awesome.
And then awesome.
There was a scene too, and I mentioned this in my solo review, and I'm wondering too if someone's watching this. So Captain Miller wears this great red scarf. and he wears it tied around his head. He wears it around his neck. The scarf is always part of him. And then there's these great scenes of him on the motorcycle, and the scarf is billowing. And there's right at the interval, there's this great shot of him where he's kind of a close up. He's on a spike, and you just see this scarf flying around. And I'm like, is there besides the fact it looked cinematically incredible, it has that hit, hot red in the middle of these, warm scenes. It's like, does that signify something? I couldn't decide if it was like a symbol. Like, is the fact he's wearing the red some kind of signal to someone? Is it symbolizing something? So I was interested in knowing more about that, if anyone knows, because I wasn't sure, but it did look fantastic just as a superficial thing too.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a color associated with freedom fighters or something. I don't know. Please do comment and let us know if you think that there was something that's significant about that particular color. But you're right, like him having that accessory all the time made for beautiful moments, like you say, of it just flowing behind him as he's riding the motorcycle or whatever.
And I did have in my notes, nobody gets off a motorcycle better than Dhanush, because he get off, swing that leg over, like it was very precise, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay, I'm writing that down. Off that motorcycle. It was so well done, because we have the stupid soldier waiting for him, and he's like, I'm coming over, and he starts marching over to him, and the way he got off his bike.
I mean, I think it comes back to the same thing I've talked about when we talked about Terrific, is that when you have somebody that's a dancer, and they're in an action movie, they're very aware of their movement,
very precise,
and they know. Like you say, just getting off a motorcycle is not just getting off a motorcycle. No. Like, you need to make it a moment, and you need to, do it in a certain way, a stylish way, right? Not just, I'm just getting off this motorcycle.
Not just like lean on the handlebars, swing your leg over while you're hunched over, and then get off. First you stand up proudly, you swing that leg over, it doesn't even move the rest of your body, and you stride forward. That's how you do it.
Right? So, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of times when I see Dhanush just really great at using his body to convey all sorts of emotion, not just, being a stylish action star, but so many films that I've seen him just, he understands it's not just your face, it's your whole body, the way you're standing, your posture. Are you hunched over because you're feeling guilty, or down, or whatever? Like, he is really a master at that, and
and there's a way I feel like Dhanush has this way of not seeming overly confident. Like, he always seemed a little confused and conflicted by everything he was doing, and I loved all that complex emotion, because he's having to do all this. It's hard to explain, because he's the hero, and he's going through and he is fighting against them. But at the same time, you feel him like conflicted about everything he's doing, like the violence he's having to use, and the people being left behind, and who he's fighting against, who he's fighting for. Like, it always seemed a little like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he seems confident, but there's always a little more. And I don't know how actors do that. How do they do that? It's so amazing.
I don't know.
It was so good. But, he shot Dhanush like he was, like you said, the hero entrance, which I feel like you said, American films don't do that. And I feel like there's sort of almost a self-conscious effort not to gratuitously show the hero anymore. Like, we're like, it's not cool anymore. Or something. It's like, no, it works. And I love seeing it, because you see it and you're like, God, that was beautiful. Great hero.
Yeah, like, or Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator. Like, come on, right? Like, give us iconic again, okay? Yeah.
Don't shy away from it because it's not cool, or we've ever done it, or it's not cool to be a hero. It's like that. I mean, not even Marvel movies do it anymore. Come on, guys, that's the epitome of hero entrances. Come on.
Well, part of that Avengers Assemble scene, we had Sundeep Kishan as Captain Rafiq. I didn't even remember him from earlier in the film, but he just kind of had this presence when he comes in that final action. I'm like, oh yeah, that's another guy. Right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, here we go. Another one.
And I also love now his previous film with Kirti Suresh. It's all about her being a total badass, and it's her revenge movie.
Yeah.
But here we have Velmati, who could have just been, a rescue me kind of heroine. She was not.
There's the great scenes of like the rebels kind of walking across the landscape, and there's these men in all their gear and they have their guns, and then you see the women in their beautiful dresses, and they both have revolvers, like they got the guns and they're walking with them. And it's like, I loved that. It's like they're not just standing by waiting to be rescued. They're like, we're in it, we're helping, we're doing, and they did.
Right. I mean, I loved how she didn't even notice him at the beginning. Like he, you know, it's like he's just literally hearts are coming out of his eyes, you know, as he's right. She's
like, I see this all the time.
Thanks for helping me alone. See ya. Bye.
Gotta go. It's like, I'm used to men looking at me this way, so bye.
Yeah, but I loved how, you know, like she saves him, then she realizes, you were part of that group that killed my husband. Like, and then later it was sort of acknowledgement. I don't think it was your bullet that killed him. Like, that's as far as she's gonna go.
I know you were in it, but you didn't do it personally, so it's okay.
I don't think it was your bullet, so all right, we'll use you to kill all these people.
I know everybody has the name on their bullet, so we're able to identify whose bullet it was, but it was so odd.
But she was so badass. I loved that.
Loved her. It was so cool.
And not only that, she was not the only woman that was badass. No. So there was another actress that I think that was new to me, Aditi Balan. She was part of the gang.
Yeah, I loved her.
And it might have been gratuitous, but I'm like, thank you, director, for putting this scene in where Dhanush is trying to say to her, listen, if you have the opportunity, you should just get married, have kids. Why are you doing all this?
Exactly.
Right? And she's like, what are you even talking about? I love that they had the conversation. They brought it up. Like, she's been she was a part of this gang before he was. She's just like, he's like, listen, I'm not sexist. I mean, I'm the one doing the dishes and you're cleaning the rifle, but
you're cleaning the rifle. I'm not sexist. Why don't you just marry and have kids? I'm just asking. Well, I got shit to do.
But I love that scene was in there. Like, so good. I mean, she was such an integral part, and she, you know, literally, she was the one cleaning the rifle.
I know. I love that. So good.
It was so awesome.
I loved that so much. I mean, that's, you know, and like you said, the movie before with Kirti, another strong female character that easily could have been cast and written for a man.
Yes.
But no. Arun Matheswaran said, you know what? I'm going to mix this up a little. Let's have like a woman doing this. And then she'll bring the fact that her child was, well, spoilers. This is in the beginning, but child was killed. So she's going to look for revenge, but we're not just going to have her husband helping her. And like, she did have a partner, but she was the impetus. She was the force. And she was almost more bloodthirsty than the man in the movie. It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
But I love that he's not making that distinction of like, well, here's the object of desire and here's this. And the men are going to rescue. It's like, no. That makes it so much more interesting, you guys. Bring the women in.
I mean, I'm sure there were women freedom fighters that were part of these gangs. I mean, there's been our viewers are going to correct me. There's a famous movie about a woman bandit who I think was based on a real person. Like,
right.
And so, you know, there definitely are women bandits, women in India who were known for being leaders of bandit gangs and whatever. Okay. So there's a history there, but still, it was pretty darn awesome to include her in the film, like you say, in a role that could have just been a guy.
Yeah,
you know, Dhanush's character could have had that. Hey, kid, you're too young to be in this group. Why don't you just go and find a girl and get married? Instead, it's flipped, and I love that.
Speaking of a kid, there was that young guy. I can't remember his character's name. He had the kind of moppy hair, and he wore these cool sunglasses, and he was always kind of like his sidekick with the big. He'd always bring in the weapons. Go, here you go. Loved him.
Okay, so he was almost, for me, he was almost like what's the word where it's like out of time and it doesn't
anachronistic or something like that.
He sort of seemed like, I just waltzed in from a 90s action film
over here. I thought you might need me. I'm not even going to cut my hair or do anything. I have these glasses. We can just wear them.
I mean, he did not seem like he had that 1930s vibe.
Oh,
but you know what? He was super cool. So
and that's what I like too. Like it worked complete. I even liked him as a contrast to how other people looked. Like the fact he was in there, it seemed like he was just a cool dude. Like, I wasn't really doing much, so I'm not even helping. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a rebel necessarily right off the bat. He was, I'm just a guy and I'm helping. I love that. I also did like, speaking of sunglasses, when Dhanush has that great scene where he picks up those glasses and kind of goes, we're trying out these glasses. And they look really good.
Okay, some of the weapons also might have been anachronistic. I don't know. But I was just like, Okay, so we're just gonna roll with it. I literally don't know that enough about weapons to know. I'm like, but I was just
exactly.
like, okay,
you're like, that might work. I don't know, but for effect, I think though one of my favorite scenes, and I can't believe I have not seen this in the movie before, was they had killed some British soldiers and they hung them on stakes. Yeah. And they lined the roads with this long road of British soldiers hanging off these stakes. And the British soldiers see this and they lose their shit. They're like, what? Lose it. And I'm like, that was really harsh to show them that. Like, wow, that's hard. So the British Army's coming in. All right, we're going in. And they did not know that the soldiers were all rigged with explosives. So one by one, all these soldiers on the stakes started blowing up the army that was coming in. That was a gorgeous, insane scene I have never seen before. Epic. Like, they had this high angle and they're coming in. Blah, 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 blah. It's so good.
It was so epic. It was totally epic. You're right. It's like, how have I not seen this before?
This seems like such a great idea. This is first time this is being. It was great. I just thought that was incredible. Yeah, and that's visionary sense of like this concept that they bring to life that it just feels fresh and new. And you're like, we're super impactful. I saw it and I went, whoa, what is happening? Like, there's nobody really reacted in the theater. I think I was like, whoa, like, whoa. There was a little bit of like people mumbling, but it was like, wow, what the hell?
I definitely went. It was quite the moment. It was insane. I mean, we have seen that before. How do you get the other side in rage?
Yes.
You either put the
display
the heads on pikes, or I mean, it almost looked like a row of crucifixion, right?
Yes,
like,
it did.
I mean, it had a Christian imagery for us, like it looked like all, and that's how it would have read to these British soldiers, like. Make them lose their mind.
They just saw blue, they just saw blood and went, and they didn't even think about it. Like there was just an emotional reaction to rush in, and that's what they were counting on, and that's what they got. That's why he was so smart. Captain Miller was smart. Doing that shit. So I liked a few of those ambush scenes. So some of those ambush scenes were great.
Yeah. I mean, they were good. I mean, if you just take the plot of the movie aside, they're really good action set pieces. Like you say, that continue to feel fresh, which is hard to do in the action space. Like so most of it has been done before, right?
Seriously.
Okay, so first of all, very cool. Also, extremely cool having all of these heroes and big actors, unite at the end to all help together.
Yeah,
love that. But it's also
so good.
It was a movie about something. Like, I mean, it had a point of view. I mean, like the Kirti Suresh movie that he did previously was definitely, a revenge drama, but again, about something, right?
Yeah.
About caste, about misogyny. And this one had a lot to say. Like you could have just left it with, the British, they're baddies, they're evil.
Yeah, we're gonna kill, they're gonna kill, we're gonna have these big action sequences, end of story. But they didn't. They made it a lot more complicated, and I like that.
Right. I mean, then you had the princes are like, let's just get rid of this whole village and just the outrage of anyone stepping in the temple that they had built.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. Yeah.
Seriously, come on. And that was great too, because it wasn't just that simple. We are good, they are bad. It was always this like layer of gray over everything. Like, so good. So good. And this is a movie I would not normally like because I'm not really big into historical dramas.
Okay.
Big action movies aren't that big a deal to me. I like them okay, but this one, I think it's just this director just brings this extra beauty. And so I knew I was going to see something special, even if it's not my favorite genre, and he made me like it. So there you go.
All right. That's high praise from Kathy, folks.
I'm saying, that's like saying I like a rom-com. It's like, I dare you to give me one I like. And he has done it.
Okay, you're kind of interesting because you're so into horror, so you would think it would transfer also to action movies, but not exactly, not really.
They're almost too big, like they feel too impersonal. Like there's like it feels like big spectacle. And too just like onslaught versus. I think that's why I like Rocky so much too, and even the movie previous to this, the smaller violence, more personal, more twisted or insane is more interesting to me than these big, masculine overkill things. And so I see that. And I feel like when you bring along a movie like Captain Miller, it doesn't do that because it gives you a lot of emotion. And that's what a lot of these movies don't do. So that's what I was surprised when I liked is you get emotion in these. And I think that's part of what I like about it.
I completely agree with you, because so often, and I'm speaking about Hollywood too, is that you'll have a big action movie and you can tell, where did all the director's time and energy go into? It was figuring out how to do the stunts and the big action set pieces. But there's no story to hold it all together and to make us even care that we're watching that car explode or that person die or whatever. Like, we don't care.
Nope.
It's like a video game or something. Like, there's no stakes. We don't care.
Right.
And you know, you can just tell when you're watching some of these. And they have it sometimes in Indian films too.
Yeah.
This one had a story. Yep. And it had great actors to back it up, up the story and really make it sing. Yeah. And so I really admire it. Yeah. Like 2 of these in 1 week, because man, this guy, I don't know if I can watch Rocky right away. Kathy, I know you've been.
You might want to wait till you get back. Rocky's pretty. It's a lot.
Man. If you've made it this far, I am visiting Chennai in about a week. So I'm on a 3-week trip to India, and I definitely am visiting Tamil Nadu, and I am very excited about it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to see a film there. I was like realizing, like, trying to see the new Mohanlal film, which also releases next week. I'm like, I might actually have better chance trying to see that in Chennai and finding it with subtitles than if I tried to see it in Kerala. So we'll see, but maybe reviews later. I'm not going to put on myself trying to make a vlog, or I'm just going to experience and just enjoy. But anyway, I'm glad that I caught Captain Miller though before I left, because it was definitely worth seeing on the big screen, and seeing this director. It's like when you see how great they are on a much smaller scale, a smaller canvas, and then you're like, okay, now that you've given the guy the keys to the kingdom, you get him I mean, not that Kirti Suresh isn't a big star, but I'm saying you give him a big star like Dhanush, and you give him the budget, then now that he has all these toys to play with, well, what are we going to get? And it was awesome.
Cannot wait to see what he does next. Cannot wait.
Right, exactly. I can't wait to see what this guy does next, because he's such a talent, and he has a unique vision, a unique, way of filming, and I want to see more.
Me too.
All right. Thanks so much, Kathy, for joining me on this discussion of Captain Miller. You know where to find her on her site, Cinemundo Podcast. We frequently collaborate, although I'll be gone for the next couple of weeks, so it'll just probably Kathy and Ahmed.
Get used to it, people. 3 weeks without Melanie is going to be rough, I know, but you're going to have to deal with us.
Anyway, if you have other recommend, I don't know what else you might have seen with Dhanush, so recommend a classic film of his. I have a couple in my mind, but I'm interested to see what our viewers will say. If you think about, what are your favorite films of Dhanush that Kathy should experience to see a little bit more what I'm talking about, what a great actor is, what a great dancer is, and so forth. Because this was definitely a certain kind of film, and he has such a wide range of roles. So be interested to hear what you recommend for us. And maybe when I get back, we can try one of those films.
Yes, tell us.
You know where to find me. I'm at Pardesi YT on Twitter. And do check out my Instagram at Pardesi Reviews, because I'll be posting maybe some pictures from my trip. And I'm also on Threads and Blue Sky with the same handle. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.